So what's up, fellow lords of gaming? Welcome back to the channel. So jumping right back in some Marvel Future Fight content, and we get confirmation that we are getting the Annihilators. And what you see here are two additional Annihilators joining the team, which has me questioning which incarnation of the team they're basically doing. The one you get first up right here is IKON, the Space Knight. So this is like such an off character. It's really weird to explain this character because, like, if you don't know who Rom the Space Knight is, then you have to really go into IKON the Space Knight, and the character's not really that layered to really give any explanation. Basically, when the Annihilators form and you get the main Power 5 that basically in there, you know, Gladiator, Silver Surfer, Quasar, those people, you have Cosmo who's trying to bring them together as a team, and basically they bring in IKON, who's able to basically analyze people's weaknesses, and she's able to identify that, you know, these 5 characters are weak because they're always basically holding themselves back, and she's able to exploit those weaknesses and defeat all 5 of them, to which she's then trying to promote them to be a team. But she also needs their help because she's got to fight like some people on her homeworld planet and stuff like that. So it's a little weird. In terms of like trying to explain the history of the character, but I think I gave you guys the best thing that I can give you. And then, you know, like I told you, I'm really kind of happy to see this. We already have Admiral Kincaid in the game. Now we're gonna have Wendell Vaughn, who's the original and like rightful owner of the bands. So essentially Wendell Vaughn is like he's an Earth human, but he gets these bands and he has like a long storied history with the bands end up passing from him to other people, especially on his deaths and then his reincarnations. So like Phyla-Vell, for instance, at one time has the quantum bands, and it just kind of goes back and forth between people. But Wendell Vaughn is the protector of the universe, Quasar, and you basically seen him in Admiral Kincaid, or at least seen that, Quasar in that form. It was a little weird always for me that we had Admiral Kincaid Quasar in the game, but we didn't have Wendell Vaughn when he was the OG for the character, right? But here we go having this. Now, with this, we're going to take a look real quick over on the forums and take a look at what's going on over there. So you can see here on Twitter, they basically just tell you 2 more members of the Annihilators have heeded the call and stand poised for action. So like, it's just the same trailer inside there. And then over on the forum, you get this is seeing fragment of Marvel Future Fight, the former SHIELD agent who controls the quantum bands, and the Galadorian Space Knight who can analyze opponents have gathered to save the universe from war. Check out our abilities of these new superheroes as they fight against intergalactic threats. So it says thank you. So we're probably gonna get one more sneak peek this week, probably Friday. We'll get another sneak peek. Now the question is, who's gonna be in that sneak peek, right? Because I'm a little surprised that they put IKON in there, because even when I was reading the comics, I never really viewed IKON as a member of the Annihilators. Like it was almost like Nova, right? Like it was a stand aside character that was like part of the team, but wasn't necessarily of the team. So it's a little bit weird to me that they introduce IKON in here, because at the same token they could introduce Cosmo, because Cosmo's like he's the character that's basically in here and trying to help bring together the team because of Star-Lord and his sacrifices that he's made. So now we essentially have IKON. We know that we're getting Beta Ray Bill T4. I'm gonna imagine, for the sake of me, that we're gonna end up with Quasar and IKON as probably like Transcendence characters. I hope they don't leave these characters in here as tier 2 characters, and I pray to God they don't do that. So at the very minimum, like Quasar is like, I think the problem that we're going to end up with this update is that all of the characters that essentially are being introduced here are like power characters. These are universal threat type characters that you're going to have to give them some due. And to basically leave Quasar, to leave IKON to leave any of these characters as a transcendent type character, something like, not that transcendent is a bad thing, because we know that you could have characters on the level of transcendence that compete with some of the tier 3 characters that we have in the game. But to think of like Wendell Vaughn being a transcendent character just makes no sense to me. To think of a character like IKON even to be, I could see IKON probably being a de facto transcendence character, and perhaps like having you know, QUASAR probably be the transcendence. And then my expectation is that we'll probably end up getting the tier 3 reveal for Gladiator next, and then my hope is that in the mid-month we end up with something for Star-Lord, and maybe something for Silver Surfer. The hard thing here is that you still have Ronin basically to come, and I'm hoping that they don't leave all these characters out, but we know how they can traditionally do is they're like, oh, we're just gonna leave this character here. But so essentially with this, we know Beta Ray Bill's getting a new uniform. These two characters are new introductions. So my expectation is that they're gonna come back around at the very least in the next sneak peek and probably give us something where they can give us a new uniform, and maybe Ronin ends up being the character that gets a transcendence as an offshoot. And then, you know, Nova basically ends up in there as well. So it's going to be a really weird to see how they're going to adjust for these characters being in here. I cannot for the life of me imagine that Silver Surfer basically gets passed over inside an Annihilator's update. There's just no way that I can see, like, if they do this where the Power 5 of that team, the core of that team, and I showed you guys all of those characters in game currently. So, you know, basically you're looking at the in-game characters currently of having removed Avril and just make her QUASAR, Star-Lord, Silver Surfer, Beta Ray Bill, and then you go the Praetorian Gladiator, and then you go Ronin. So essentially those are the 5 characters, and then you have Nova sitting on the outside as a 6th. Now they introduce IKON, should be the 7th, and then you could potentially have Cosmo as a new introduction. It'd be pretty cool to see Cosmo. I don't know how they would do the dog Cosmo inside the game, but it would be interesting to do that. So my expectation is at the very least that Silver Surfer is going to end up being the mid-month, and so we know we're going to get those 2 characters right now with the addition of one other. It's really just down to how they're going to treat these 2 characters inside the game. Is these 2 characters going to end up just as transcendence, and then we see a tier 3 right now for the Gladiator Praetor inside the first initial run? I'm hoping that's the direction that they go, is, you know, maybe we have these 2 characters that we know are coming, QUASAR and Beta Ray Bill, and then we get him as the tier 3 in the initial run, and then maybe they swing back around and go for the mid-month, and we get Silver Surfer for the tier 4, and we get Nova for the tier 3, and he ends up as a transcendent type character along with QUASAR and IKON. Now I don't know, it's like a hard thing to tell. It'd be really cool to see Cosmo make some kind of introduction to the game, even if he was just like a screen character or something like that. I think he'd be really interesting just to introduce to the game, just the cuteness factor, probably generate some female audience inside the game. But, you know, nevertheless, because we could end up with like Deadpool dog pool or something like that in the future, you know what I mean, or Headpool. Basically, if you went that route, it would be really funny and interesting to see. So I think overall, we know we're getting Annihilators. I just, for the life of me, cannot imagine that we skip over any of these 3 characters basically going in. I just know for the life of me there's no way they're skipping out on Silver Surfer, and more than likely returning him to his silver incarnation, and basically giving an update from the modern version of what this uniform was, maybe just adding some more muscle and texture to the design, and basically we get him as a tier 4 in the mid-month, and that would be the most things. So it's going to be one of those hard decisions though, because you can basically have Beta Ray Bill and you're going to have Silver Surfer, 2 cosmic level characters. All of them are cosmic level characters, so you're, except for the Praetorian, so you're going to really be struggling hard on trying to determine which of these characters you're going to be leveling up to tier 4. But I know I'm going to be waiting at least to the mid-month to basically see if Silver Surfer is going to be on the block there. So let me know what you guys think. Are you excited about the Annihilators? I'm really excited about these characters basically getting their due. I just really wish that we would already had most of these characters at the tier 3 transcendence level, so that way we could basically pick off some of these characters and determine whether or not they're going to get their tier 4s or not. My real big fear with Nova is that he hasn't had a uniform at all, and this is probably the best look that we're ever going to see for Nova. This is Nova, you know, Richard Rider at his peak power. This is World Mind infused Richard Rider. My fear is that we go back to like one of his old school uniforms from like, you know, way back in the day, and that, you know, classic kind of look, and we get that and it just don't pop, right? So we'll have to see where it goes from here, but I'm excited about the update. Man, I could just pull out so many comics from this series to show you guys. I've got comics signed from, you know, from the authors and the colorists and stuff like that for this. So I'm really excited to see these characters make their debut inside, or not their debut, but make their power levels and their power felt inside Future Fight. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Until next time, guys, peace.